Hello, good evening. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Dennis and welcome to my art channel. Hope you're having a lovely day. I am. I'm doing what I love to do. Got a little watercolor pad, some colors, a bit of water, and a brush in my hand. Nothing quite like it. Going in for an abstract piece today. Similar kind of vibes to last week if you were there with me. Starting with red. This is just the plain kind of Sennelier red, most general primary kind of red on my palette, and a bit of blue. Going in with the cobalt blue. Getting a bit of that combination color known as purple, and trying to mix it around every which way, making a random little underpainting here. But I feel like even just the underpainting, as long as you've covered every bit of page and put in some effort, like this right here could be a painting, right? A little light in color, a little light, not enough pigment, but still, there's something to be said with just the stage that the painting's at right here. Nevertheless, though, we're gonna build on this and following it up with a round brush, some blues, some turns into violet, flick it around, get some yellow, and push it into the page, push into all the areas, and then this red starts to pop off a little bit. It looks a little bit more vibrant when it's contrasted with these other cooler, lighter colors. Popping in my diazazine, my favorite little pigment, pre-mixed violet, and mixing it around as well. Just really speeding it up at this point. I don't know, I didn't really feel like for this small of a painting making too long of a video. I feel like y'all know what I'm doing by this point. We're pushing some colors around, trying to make it feel right. It doesn't necessarily have to look right, but as long as it feels good to make, feels good to look at, that's what I'm shooting for here. I got all sorts of colors coming in now. I feel like I've really got a sort of mud picking up. Anytime I flick the brush all across the page, it crosses all of the colors and becomes a strange brown, but come back in with a bit more pigment, like a line of red or a line of violet here, and it does still stick out. The page is totally saturated at this point. You can see just every single mark. The water just spreads that pigment out. Sort of like the ocean as it brings in some water. Watch as it recedes into the sand. Getting that kind of vibe watching this watercolor right now. Pushing, pulling, getting all these colors mixed in all across the page. At this point, I am looking at it as there's some areas that are developing, and I can play off of those and make some visual adjustments, like the red patch, yellow patch, little purple areas, splitting them up by color. Or I could also split them up by the complexity with how there's a lot of high contrast gradient in the bottom right with the complements, the yellow and the purple, versus a little more tame in the top left and the left side of the painting in general, especially with how lower pigment it is in those areas. So I probably have to adjust and add a little bit more color as I progress the painting. All sorts of colors. I don't even know what to say at this point. I'm mixing like a yellow and the red and the blue and making all sorts of different stuff. I mean, obviously we're making an orange right now, all sorts of different oranges, but yeah, just having fun with it, you know, not trying to put too much stress onto this painting here, onto myself for what this is or what it's trying to be. I really just want to express myself and how I feel, how these watercolors make me feel as I'm painting them, as they kind of change my life in the moment. I feel like, in contrast to my video last week, I went out of my way to not listen to any music or any kind of sound for this one. I guess, I mean, it's not like there's no sound. I'm listening to the sound of the brush, the sound of the clink of the glass, and the reason why I don't have that sound in the video is because, of course, I also got the sound of the air conditioning and air purification going on there, and that's just a bit too loud. Unfortunate, but that kind of drone ends up being something, I don't know, just sort of channel out, don't think about at a certain point. But yeah, that kind of pure environment for this painting, try not to be influenced by anything but just the painting itself and my own mind, my own kind of feelings on this. At this point, I'm really trying to darken the painting. I'm adding indigo, I'm adding the violet again, and trying to darken some of the lighter areas and add a bit of complexity, as you can see with some of the thinner lines versus larger, broader strokes that were being used earlier to develop the overall areas. In here, I'm trying to darken and add a bit of blue to mix into. I think I was trying to mix it into a green here, but added a bit too much water and it started bleeding everywhere. So I went and grabbed a trusty towel and rubbed that right off. Just a bit too much going on there, and now I'm correcting with first going in with the blue, and then I'm going in with the purple. Still on the dark side, but a little cleaner than what was going on before. I feel like the yellow and the blue were muddying just a little too much and getting a little confused in the page there. That said, I wonder how confusing this painting is in general. I feel like it's got some nice areas and colors, but I wonder actually how the overall painting feels. I feel like, personally, I interpret it a bit like a color field at this stage, like the pops of color, like clouds of color. I'm thinking of like a certain festival that you might see these kind of pops of color grenades and stuff. Kind of reminds me of that with like the red, violet, yellow on the left there. But then I feel a bit more of a grounded, a bit more darkness in that right area. Maybe something natural or perhaps supernatural with how I feel like the violet can sometimes be interpreted. But yeah, I'm curious what you think. Please let me know in the comments how this painting makes you feel. I'm always curious what your reaction is to the whole painting, or maybe just the process. If there's something that stuck out to you, how I used a certain color, mixed a certain way. Maybe the fact that I actually only used this brush for like 98% of the painting, and I've got all of those brushes there on the left, but I decided that this is the one to make this one. With that though, some nice little close-ups of the painting coming right up. This work of maybe about an hour on this day. Lots of colors, lots of waters. Hopefully you enjoyed the process. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me. Greatly appreciate it. Would also appreciate if you leave a like on the video, comment your thoughts, give it a share if you know somebody into the art. And without further ado, peace out. I hope you have a lovely weekend. Catch you in the next one.